Hello everyone, and welcome to this breaking news update. In a recent attack, a suspected Iranian-affiliated drone has killed an American contractor and wounded 5 U.S. service members in northeast Syria. Today, we'll be discussing the details of this incident and its aftermath. This attack has caused significant concern among the U.S. military and government officials. The use of a drone to carry out this attack shows the increasing sophistication of Iran's military capabilities and their willingness to target U.S. personnel in the region. This is not the first time that Iranian-affiliated groups have carried out attacks against U.S. forces in the Middle East. The U.S. military has reported that there have been 78 drone or rocket attacks on U.S. forces in Iraq or Syria by Iranian proxies since the beginning of 2021. The U.S. military has stated that they are postured for scalable options in response to any additional attacks by Iran or their proxies. This latest attack has prompted a swift and measured response by President Biden, who authorized a precision airstrike against facilities used by groups affiliated with Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, IRGC, in eastern Syria. The U.S. has made it clear that they will take all necessary measures to defend their personnel and respond to attacks against them. The situation in the region remains tense, and it is uncertain how Iran will respond to the U.S.'s actions. The U.S. military and its allies in the region will continue to monitor the situation and take appropriate measures to protect their personnel and interests. The recent attack on U.S. personnel in northeast Syria by a suspected Iranian-affiliated drone has prompted a swift response from President Joe Biden. The president authorized a precision airstrike in eastern Syria against facilities used by groups affiliated with Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guards Corps, IRGC. The decision was made to take proportionate and deliberate action, intended to limit the risk of escalation and minimize casualties. The U.S. response sends a clear message that attacks on American personnel will not be tolerated. The Biden administration has made it clear that it is committed to defending U.S. interests and will respond to any threat to American lives and assets. The precision airstrike demonstrates that the U.S. will take action when necessary to protect its personnel and interests. It is important to note that the U.S. response was measured and targeted, aimed specifically at the facilities used by Iranian-affiliated groups. The objective was to send a clear message while minimizing the risk of further escalation. The Biden administration's approach to this incident shows that it is committed to a diplomatic solution to the tensions between the U.S. and Iran, but will not hesitate to take action when necessary to protect American lives and interests. The attack on the U.S. personnel in northeast Syria is yet another instance of the ongoing tensions between the United States and Iran. The U.S. has repeatedly accused Iran of supporting and funding various proxy groups in the Middle East, who are responsible for attacking U.S. forces and interests in the region. This latest attack is a stark reminder of the continued threat posed by these Iranian-backed militants. U.S. Central Command's General Eric Kurilla has stated that Iranian proxies have carried out more than 78 drone and rocket attacks against U.S. forces in the Middle East in 2021 alone. These attacks have resulted in the deaths of several U.S. service members and contractors, and the U.S. has responded with targeted strikes against the groups responsible. The U.S.-Iran tensions have been simmering for years, with the U.S. pulling out of the 2015 nuclear deal and imposing sanctions on Iran. Iran has responded by gradually increasing its uranium enrichment levels, and tensions have escalated further under the Trump administration. The Biden administration has expressed a willingness to rejoin the nuclear deal and engage in talks with Iran, but incidents like this attack serve as a reminder that the relationship between the two nations remains complex and fraught with challenges. The U.S. has a history of carrying out airstrikes against militias affiliated with Iran following attacks on its personnel in the region. In February 2021, President Biden authorized his first military action by carrying out airstrikes against Iranian-backed militias in Syria. This was in response to rocket attacks on U.S. troops in Iraq. The strikes targeted facilities used by the militias to launch the attacks, and the Biden administration emphasized that they were defensive in nature and aimed at protecting American personnel. The airstrikes were a clear signal to Iran and its proxies that attacks on U.S. personnel would not go unanswered, and that the U.S. was prepared to take action to protect its interests in the region. The recent attack in northeast Syria and the subsequent precision airstrike against Iranian-affiliated groups serve as a reminder of the ongoing tensions between the U.S. and Iran in the Middle East. The presence of U.S. troops in Syria has been a contentious issue since their deployment in 2015. While the initial mission was to combat the Islamic State group, the continued presence of U.S. forces in Syria has raised questions about their long-term goals in the region. Despite the recent attack on U.S. personnel in Syria, the Biden administration has stated its commitment to maintaining a presence in the country to continue the fight against the remnants of the Islamic State group. However, the attack by an Iranian-affiliated drone and the ongoing tensions between the U.S. and Iran highlights the challenges of maintaining a military presence in a volatile region. The situation in Syria remains complex, with various factions vying for control and influence. The presence of U.S. troops, while aimed at combating terrorism, has also been a factor in the ongoing conflict. It remains to be seen how the recent attack will impact the U.S. military's presence and actions in Syria going forward. The situation in Syria has become increasingly tense, with not only attacks from Iranian-affiliated groups but also violations by Russian military jets. According to reports, Russian jets have flown over a U.S. military garrison in Syria nearly every day in March, violating a 4-year-old agreement between the U.S. and Russia. This blatant disregard for the agreement not only poses a risk to U.S. troops but also risks further escalation between the two countries. The U.S. has condemned these actions by Russia's SIA and has urged them to adhere to the agreement to avoid any potential incidents. It remains to be seen how this situation will unfold, but tensions between the U.S. and Russia continue to mount in the region. This drone attack has once again highlighted the tense relationship between the U.S. and Iran, and the ongoing threat faced by U.S. troops in the Middle East. As President Biden has made clear, the U.S. will take all necessary measures to defend its people and will always respond at a time and place of its choosing. Thank you for watching, and we'll keep you updated on any developments in this story.